Holy folly, you are God living in her own dream. Welcome to this update video. As usual, I have plenty to share. I will start off with the importance of humor. Okay, I am someone who loves humor, loves laughing more than anything in the world. And joy and laughter is your natural essence, believe it or not. No matter how depressed or dull or serious you seem to be, your true nature is so joyous and just wants to laugh all the time. But with the ego programming, it gets in the way of your true nature and makes life seem so serious, so dull, so depressing, makes you feel like a victim and that there's no reason to laugh. And so that's why you stray away from your true nature. But I want to encourage you to open up to joy. I've even seen people who are, let's say, further along their spiritual path or have been on their spiritual path for a long time, but they're so serious, so serious. Life is not meant to be serious. Why? There's a cosmic joke going on. The joke being that none of this is real. Nothing actually exists. You're all alone. Yet we're just pretending that this is all real. And the more you realize the truth of reality and who you are, the more you understand this joke, you get this joke. And this joke really just brings a lot of humor to your life. Most things actually can be seen as quite funny through the lens of truth. But you have to be open to laughing. The ego closes you off to laughing, to finding everything funny. But when you open up to joy, joy fills you up. It doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take effort. Joy is all around you. You just have to be open to it. And it's important to be able to laugh at yourself, your ego. And it's not a mean thing to do, to make fun of your ego, to make fun of other people's egos and habits, not with the energy of this shouldn't be like this, or that person shouldn't be like this, or you shouldn't have done that. Because that's when it starts to turn into bullying. That's when the vibration is not joy, pure joy, and it's just mean. It's just ego trying to have power, or ego trying to feel like a victim. Making fun of people in the most joyous way is actually an appreciation of everyone's uniqueness, an appreciation of the journey that we're on, moving from pretending that we're imperfect and our journey towards remembering and expressing our true perfect selves. It's just part of the journey. Let's enjoy it by just making fun of all these different things that we do, or the things that we become aware of about ourselves, or unique things about ourselves or other people. So it's a great thing to do. However, the ego always feels attacked. It doesn't want to feel like someone's putting it down. So that's why the ego is always offended at everything. Take offense to that, that's offensive. And this being offended gets in the way of you laughing and feeling joy. However, humor and laughing at the ego is such a healing thing to do. When you laugh at it and how silly it is, you detach from it more and more, and you turn the seriousness of the ego into joy. And it's so healing, so important on the journey, and I can't recommend enough being more open to joy at all times. The second thing to share is there's this subtle fear within humanity that I don't think is covered enough. And that is the fear of being forgotten about. So this fear arises, it's very subtle. It motivates you to talk more than you actually want to talk, to go to events or to meet people that you don't necessarily want to go to or meet, or you go to these kind of things more often than you actually want to. If you are a content creator, the algorithms on social media prefer and they favor people who regularly put out content. And so that subtly, that gives the motivation and pressure that if you're not putting out content regularly, then you're not going to be seen, you're not going to be heard. And it's a very, very subtle but very strong programming. And it comes even further, if we drill down even further, it comes from the fear of being alone. Because if I'm forgotten about, then I will not get attention, I will be more alone. And so why is that a bad thing? Because to the ego, being alone means not receiving love from external sources. But as probably many of you know, being alone is when you can more easily discover the love that you actually are. So do not fear being forgotten about. Life will never forget you. Life always sees you. Life always hears you. Even if no one else is around, you are always seen, you are always heard, you are always remembered. And the final thing I've noticed is if you are a business owner, then there's this pressure to create products and services that stimulate the ego or give the ego something it wants in some way. This could be stimulation, could be money, could be power, popularity, sex, certain low vibrational foods, could be distractions. Whatever the ego prefers, whatever the ego desires, if you're someone who creates a product or service that caters for those desires in some way, then generally your business will actually do quite well. Whereas those of us in the spiritual field, we're working completely against this subtle matrix within the business world, where if a lot of us are creating things or offering products and services that are intentionally not good for the ego. They actually, little by little, chip away at the ego. And so the ego will do everything it can to resist all those things that are actually beneficial for everyone's soul, but damaging to the ego. And generally those businesses will not be as successful as those that are catering for the ego. From my experience, I've seen how generally people are happy to pay money for all sorts of useless products and services, but when it comes to spirituality, for some reason, they feel they're entitled to it for free. Also, when hosting events, I observe the processes within the mind of people who are thinking about coming. They're trying to look for any excuse. A lot of people are trying to look for any excuse to not go. And so we in the spiritual field are really, really quite limited, not in just offering things just for the awake people, which is already a tiny percentage of the population. But within those spiritually awake people, we're generally targeting those who are quite aligned with love already or disassociated from the ego enough that love makes sure that they acquire the products and services that will really help them on their soul journey. So it's a very small pool of people. So I just wanted to say that because a lot of people I know who are offering products and services within the spiritual field, they get quite down that they're not attracting enough people. I just wanted to explain in this video that that's because you're fighting against this matrix that favors businesses that cater for ego desires. But I encourage you to keep going. As long as you know within yourself that you will always be taken care of by life, then there's nothing to worry about. Just keep going. Anything you need on your journey, money or otherwise, it will be provided for. Just keep going, just keep following your joy and producing what you want to produce, and everything will work out. So don't be disheartened. Keep going and follow your joy. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer or any comments, then feel free to give a comment below this video. Yours joygasmically, Agape.